True. True.
True.
Yeah. Let's go.
True.
Yeah. What's good? What's good? We got Ronnie in the building early. Shout out to Mr. Finesse getting us started with the biddies. What's good? Shout out to Mr. Finesse. That man's a winner. Let's go. W biddies. Let's go. Y'all already know what we got going on today, chat. Y'all already know. If you haven't been here with us on Monday before, listen. You're in for a treat. How much of a treat? Hey, that's up to you to determine. But we're going to get into it. Before we really start digging in, chat, who is a Cowboys fan? Your boy True is a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. You know what I'm saying? America's team. It's your daily dose of ASMR, right? America's team. Mr. Finesse said, not me. Bro claimed it early. He said, yo, not me. Anybody but them. Hey, shout out to that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was kind of feeling like that last night, too. My friend asked me a good question as the Cowboys were struggling to compete against the Green Bay Packers, of which it could be called a good game, but I prefer to think of it as a game that had zero defense, right? That game had zero defense, chat. Went into overtime, and they still was tied at the end of the game. The game was tied up, right? That's crazy. My friend asked a good question last night as we're watching the game. He said, yo, what is worse than being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys? All that pressure. I said, yo, honestly, it's probably one thing worse than being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and that's being a Dallas Cowboy fan, chat. Being a Dallas Cowboy fan, right? Because we rely on the quarterback. He don't rely on us, right? He's going to do whatever he does, whether the fans show up or not. But when we show up, our experience is going to be determined based on how he leads that team. You feel me, chat? I don't know. Overall, yeah, it was a good game, but bro, coming out of that, what a tie? What a tie, chat? Listen, Rome, if you're watching, I was looking forward to calling you at midnight and saying, looks like we finally got that W again. There was once upon a time where the Cowboys used to just consistently whoop up on the Packers. That time hasn't been over the last couple years, chat. And over the last couple years, you already know, my good friends, be sure that they call me and say, hey, True. I just, how you doing? Like, I'm doing good. What's up? Just checking on you. Oh, I appreciate that. Everything's going well with me. You feel me? They're like, oh, no. I don't give a damn about how your life is going. I'm just checking your emotional state after your team got their ass whooped. Chat. Those are the type of friends that I have. Those are the type of friends that you need around you. The type of friends that's going to look you in the face and be like, yo, how you doing? And as you start digging deep and like, it's been a little rough. It's kind of hard out here. They're like, nigga, I don't give a fuck about none of that. Your team is some shit, right? You want to change your emotional state? Well, change the team that you root for. Those are the type of people I hang out with, chat. Shout out to real friends. Shout out to real friends, chat. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, being the owner, yeah, he looked like he be stressed out too, but with how much money he got, I don't know if he that stressed. You feel me? He ain't that stressed. He up there chilling in the, I wonder what temperature he keep that sweet on. You feel me? Probably a nice 70 degrees. He probably, nah. That's the owner. They probably keep that bitch on 68. 68. Right? Nice and cool in there. We are talking about Texas, right? 68's probably cool. They could keep that shit cold. You know what I'm saying? Certain people I know love to keep it cold, whether it be in the suite, whether in the car. You ever rode with somebody who love to keep their car just freezing cold? Like, bro, it's cold as shit in this car. Your windshield is literally fogging up because of how cold it is. Like, that's ridiculous. But that's how some people live, chat. You know what I'm saying? But I hope y'all had a productive and good weekend. Y'all know September is coming to an end. Shout out to everybody who's giving subs. Shout out to all the biddies. But it is slowly coming to an end, chat. Slowly coming to an end. But what does that mean? That means, one, if you enjoy watching Mafiathon 3, which is supposed to be the last Mafiathon, right? Tonight is the last official night, right? Well, technically it goes to October 1st, if I'm not mistaken. But tonight they're supposed to be doing a sleepover at Kevin Hart's house. Last time they had a sleepover, I think Drewski and Kevin Hart was saying, yo, I'm not sleeping at Kai's house no more. It's too much. It's too much going on over there. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. I'm really curious to see how that's going to play out, chat. But today, y'all know it's Monday. Curious to see how that's going to play out, chat. Oh, I got my volume on. Sorry about that. It is Monday, so I'm going to have to go ahead and get started. Y'all know we like to look at a couple things, but first we got to give you the disclaimer. Your boy True, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a personal advisor. I am not licensed with a Series 7 or 66 or 63 or 6. It doesn't, I'm not, I'm none of those things. I am not a tax accountant. I'm not a regular accountant. I'm not an advisor at all, chat. What I'm telling you is all the information that you see on this channel, I am not qualified to give. So you should take it as that, entertainment. That is all I'm here to do. I am here to entertain you, chat. And if you are entertained by the information that I give you, well, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to Sun Light who entered the chat. How are you doing? I'm not going to lie. Whenever I go to different people's channels and stuff like that, there's always something that I take from the channel. Not steal from the channel, but something I take, either an idea or something that's pretty nice that I enjoy. And one of the things that if you guys haven't already checked out Sun's channel, you have to go there for the game. The word game, the words on screen or whatever the game is called, I mean, it's such a great way to get people interacting, getting a little competitive nature going in the chat. I like that. I might have to try that out if you don't mind, son. That's pretty cool what you do over there. Another thing that I kind of saw, right? While we're trying to figure out how folks can say, yo, I was first in the chat. If you direct your attention to the section that talks about true points, right? Direct your attention to true points, right? And I'm gonna switch my screen up a little bit because I'm gonna even show you. I'm gonna even show you, chat. I'm gonna show you, right? Here we are. So let's pop out the chat, right? There's a section down here for true points. Here's something that I added, right? You see, got some new things on here. Now, for 1 point, you could just redeem first. And you could say, hey, true, I was first in the chat. Or if you're second in the chat, you can go, hey, I was second in the chat. Or even third. Notice it's gold, silver, and bronze. That's what I attempted to create here. But I saw that on a few people's channel. I thought that was pretty cool because I know some people come and they're like, yo, I'm first here. And I want to figure out a way where I can get the first person to get shouted out like, yo, so-and-so is first in the chat. I'll figure that out. But for now, we do have channel points. And it's only one channel point. You know what I'm saying? You get one channel point just for showing up. Also, I have this new one that I'm going to try out. It's pretty expensive for now. I'll probably reduce it and, while I'm still going on my journey. But what this does is it says for 25,000 points, go check out this person's live stream. Live stream hop, chat. And again, 25,000 is a little high, so I'll probably end up changing it. But yeah, y'all tell me what you guys think. Tell me if there's any other channel rewards you think I should have. For message effects, I did reduce that down to the minimum. I think it was 30 or something, but down to the minimum if you want to highlight your message. So we're slowly making upgrades. 1v1 and the soundboard is still up there. I might switch the prices of these because adding to the soundboard is tougher than 1v1ing me in a game, honestly, chat. Honestly, it really is. So let's see if we close that. Yep, it goes back there. But let's get into it. Who's ready? Did you bring your thinking cap? Because y'all know how we get down. The first thing we look at is our Christmas bar, right? What is it telling us? Green, 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 red, red. Oil and the U.S. 10-year, which is bonds, is red. We're in a bull market, chat. If you don't know what a bull market is, that means over the last couple of weeks, last couple months, days, we've been doing this. Stocks have been going that way, right? Some degenerates, if you're in the chat, may even say that some stocks are headed towards the moon. That's what they refer to it as, right? But we come to CNBC because we like to see some articles and we like to make some assumptions. Again, it's for entertainment purposes only. And Shaw has entered the chat. Shout out to Shaw. Make sure y'all check her out. She was over there doing Overcooked, right? Whipping in the kitchen. She's still trying to get the hang of that flick of the wrist, right? Still trying to get the hang of that flick of the wrist. I cannot remember the young lady that Shaw was playing with one time, but she was throwing steaks from the 50-yard line. Bro, she was doing better than Dak Prescott last night with them steaks. She was tossing them bitches across the kitchen. I'm like, bro, I have never played this game, but I promise you, I have not seen anyone throw steaks like that. Normally, I see people running across the joint, and I can, in my own head, because I am one of those kids that have a huge imagination. And I say kid because I'm a kid at heart, right, chat? And I have a big imagination. So I like to look at people playing Overcooked, i.e. Shaw, and be like, what are you? I'm an idiot sandwich, right? You got to put your own narration to it sometimes. That makes it funnier. You know what I mean? Maybe one time I'll do what they call a react, and I'll just have Shaw live, and I'll react from the viewpoint of Gordon Ramsay. Shout out to that, chat. Shout out to Shaw being in the building. Y'all know the vibes. Solo entered the building. Shout out to Solo. Still over there surviving, you feel me? But our banner this morning, chat. Y'all know our banner is the first thing we look at. Let's wait for it to scroll through again, see what it's telling us. Anytime. Bueller. There we go. So it's basically saying stocks that's making the biggest pre-market moves. So again, pre-market is before the market actually opens. So EA, right? Electronic Arts, Novo Nordisk, Lam Research, Oracle, right? So you got some information technology companies in there, some folks that's dibbling and dabbling with AI, right? Stock futures jump as AI names rebound. EA surges on takeover. EA surges, it says on takeover. So whoever put on twice probably lost their job, but Electronic Arts, EA Sports, right? We're going to see what they're talking about. We're not going to read the article, but I figured it was going to be the first one up there. EA going private in $55 billion deal that will pay shareholders $210 a share. Hold up, chat. They're going private in a deal that's going to pay shareholders $210. Let's look up EA right now. Let's look up Electronic Arts. Okay. Whoa. Chat. They were at 193. Hold up. Let's look at the chart really quick. We haven't gotten into charts, but let's put this in perspective for you guys. Right? Last week, chat, if you had purchased this stock, it would have cost you roughly $170. That means if you bought one share, you would have, by today, by market open, have made over $30. That, my friend, is insane. But again, we know from the news, EA is going private in a $55 billion deal. So what that means for the stock, that probably means that they're going to be taken off the stock market, right? If they're going private and they're currently publicly traded, and they're going to pay $210. So even if for some reason you're able to catch this, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you how things work. I'm not even absolutely sure I'm correct because I'm not licensed, as you heard in my disclaimer. But here it says the $55 billion deal that will pay shareholders $210 a share. What does that mean? That means there's still $6 worth of value in this stock. I'm not making this up. It's telling you right here. If you know how to understand this information, that's what it's telling you. Last week, they were trading at $160-something. Then they skyrocketed to $192. And then now pre-market, they're up another almost 6%. Chat, that's insane. You need to learn stocks? Well, that's why you're here, because I'm teaching you. And if you have questions, definitely post them in the chat because I'll answer it for you. Right? You know what I'm saying? I'll answer the question for you. But look, it just changed because the article is telling us, chat. We didn't even have to read the article. Shout out to Stepback who just joined us in the chat. EA, right? Electronic Arts. Y'all know EA. They own a lot of games, but they're going private. They're currently a public traded company. When the market opens today, you can literally buy this stock, right? I'm not telling you to do this, but it says the deal will pay shareholders $210 a share. I recommend, because it's already announced, the news is already out, if you're planning on getting into EA for whatever reason you decide to do it, read that article and find out what other information you can find about that deal. Because just based on the title, an assumption I would make is there's still $6 worth of value within this stock. If the market opens up and this opens up at $204, right, chat? And they're going to pay me $210 per share. That means for every share of EA that I buy, I'm going to basically make $6. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. And as you can see, pre-market, this thing is running up. $10. I don't know how everyone understands, but if you look at this, this is telling you over the last 2 days, whoever owned this stock has made a total of $35. That is fucking insane, chat. That's our first article. But let's move on. The article's there if you want to read it. Cleveland's Fed Hammock warns of challenging time amid inflation worries. Yo, we're always going to be worried about inflation. That's just how our country is ran. We live in a capitalist environment. We're always going to be worried about inflation. Why? Because inflation makes shit cost more. Right? If you wanted to buy an EA game, EA Sports, right? Doesn't matter what game it is. If you want to buy one, it's expensive, right? What's an EA game that people are currently buying? Madden, right? Madden is the EA game. Madden 26, right? It's expensive. Madden used to, back in the day, cost what? Not a lot. Now that shit costs what? Who bought Madden? How much you pay for it? $70, $80? Trump threatens mass firings of federal workers if shutdown isn't averted. NBC News report. Listen. We talked about this before. This is what they call looming information, right? We still have to hear about this because the last day of the government fiscal year, the U.S. government, is tomorrow, September 30th. September 30th, chat. If they don't come up with some type of bill or agreement on a spending plan by tomorrow, the government will shut down. That is what we call a furlough. And shout out to Bree in the chat. Shout out to Bree. Right? They was having a little game night yesterday. W biddies. W fucking biddies, chat. Listen. Shout out to Step Back. The biddies flowing through. Yo, chat, if I knew how to freestyle, I would have definitely fucking went in just now. That gave me Jada Kiss. That gave me the Locks vibes. You know what I'm saying? Me and Shaw might have to have a cipher. That came in real New York. Didn't that come in New York, chat? Look. I'm going to act like I'm a freestyle, but listen how this come in. Yo. See, if I knew how to flow, right there is where you would have caught the bars of a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? That definitely felt real New York. You know what I'm saying? I got to put my Timbs on, put my Butters on. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I do know how to freestyle though. I'm just playing with y'all, but y'all ain't gonna get that just yet. You know what I'm saying? Your boy True is I'm multi-talented. You feel me? I'm a jack of all trades. I tell y'all that all the time. Jack of all trades, master of none. So maybe y'all hear me freestyle one time, but chat. September 30th, which is tomorrow, is the last day of the fiscal year. If you don't hear anything about a spending bill or a continuing resolution, that means that the government has shut down and we will go on furlough. It does go all the way up to midnight. W again to the biddies that are just rolling in the fucking chat. Appreciate chat. Comcast names Mike Cavanaugh, I guess that's how you say his name, as co-CEO alongside Brian Roberts. Here are Monday's biggest analyst calls. What did I tell you, chat? You're always going to see them talking about NVIDIA, Apple, Tesla. They got Wells Fargo, Disney, AppLovin, and more. That's because these are the top companies. These are large caps, mega cap companies. They're always going to talk about NVIDIA, bro. They're always going to talk about Apple. They're going to. Yo, they trying to start a raid train. Shout out to y'all. Y'all getting wicked with the biddies. You feel me? W biddies. I appreciate y'all. Y'all always showing love, man. I appreciate y'all. How is y'all morning going? You know what I'm saying? How's class going? Anything particular y'all want to learn about finance? Definitely don't hesitate to ask the questions in the chat. You feel me? What's the natural demand for EVs in the US? We're about to find out. Listen, I was having a conversation as I was watching one of the streamers that I love their channel. Shout out to Peachy, right? Love a Peachy Yanni. But I do believe people are going to buy EVs regardless of Elon Musk, right? Regardless of how much people hate Elon Musk, people are going to buy EVs. Why? Because at a certain point, people are going to realize that the cost savings surrounding buying an electric vehicle, right? The cost savings around it, chat. Listen, I'll tell y'all right now. This is something that y'all may or may not have known about True. And I'm going to tell y'all after we fucking turn up for 1 second because we got a hype train going. Man, shout out to the biddies going through and shout out to the hype train, man. Y'all turn up in the chat. Turn up in the chat. Turn up in the chat. Shout out to the sub. Where's my fucking music? Oh, Streamlabs. You're on your Streamlabs. I'm on your ass. Where is my music? Where is my... That's supposed to be a cranking beat right now. Shout out to J Vax in the building. We just leveled up. We got Vax in the chat. Yo, shout out to all y'all. That raid train going. That hype train going. The biddies is going. Where is my sound? My sound is supposed to be putting me on right now. They're not doing such a good job. Chat, we're gonna have to have a talk with Streamlabs. We're gonna have to. I don't know what they're doing, but shout out to y'all. Let's go. Yes. Let's go, chat. Turn up. You gotta give a little love for that hype train. Yes. Let's go. Step back with 100 biddies. Y'all going crazy. Bree with more biddies. Yo, Bree she got on her sweatpants today because where's she pulling all these biddies from? Let's go, chat. W hype train in the building. Y'all go ahead and run that hype train up. While y'all do that, I'm going to tell you the story, right? Because I am not going to say I am for or against Elon Musk, right? I don't like to get into what I think is a political conversation. Let me tell you why. Because as someone who is able to debate, right? I can debate people all night. We used to do that all the time in college, right? You give your viewpoint, I give my viewpoint, and let's see who wins this argument. Politics, religion, and all that stuff are the most difficult things to debate. And especially when it comes to supporting specific people. I'll tell you why. For example, if you're on either side, for Elon Musk, against Elon Musk, it doesn't matter, right? Because eventually down the line, someone can point to something that you probably support, unless you have that Hotep in your blood, that you probably support, that is still along the same line of you supporting Elon Musk. So, kind of live your life how you want to live it, right, chat? But let me tell you something really quick. One thing I'll say about EVs and why I think it's going to continue to go up and more people are going to continue to buy EVs. Here's a little personal information. If you guys didn't know, right, this is no bragging or nothing like that, but I do own an electric vehicle. The shit's expensive. Initially, they're much less expensive than they were when I purchased my EV, but I went from an electric vehicle. To an electric vehicle from an Escalade, chat. I had a Cadillac Escalade. The one they have in this picture is an EV, but I had a Cadillac Escalade. can we get the Discord version of the true and uncut? Which version are you talking about? Which version are you talking about? Let me know. But I had an Escalade, chat. I had an Escalade, and that shit guzzles gas, bro. I had 93. You know what I'm saying? I had 9. First of all, let me show you. Hold up. Let me switch views real quick, because we're still on topic. We're still on topic, chat. To hear my true thoughts. Oh yeah, you can always hear my true thoughts. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna always be real. But what I think is, y'all should not give a shit about who the CEOs are of certain things. I feel like if you like certain things, just fucking do it. That's my true thought. I don't think you should care about Elon Musk if you like electric vehicles, because the shit will save you money. The shit will save you money, chat. Look, I'm pulling up. I just want to show y'all a quick picture, right? I want to show y'all a quick picture. So I'm going to show you a picture of one. This is the Escalade that I had. The picture doesn't do it justice, but yes. Yup. That's an Escalade with 24s on it. I know, yet another thing. I hope Shaw's looking, because I know Shaw's like, yo, who the hell is True? Yeah. 24-inch Lexani rims on that shit. Just in case you thought it was sweet. You know what I'm saying? Please don't sleep on me. And then I'm going to show you another photo, right? So that's the Escalade that I traded in. And this is when I went to pick up my Tesla right there. So that's your boy True. I have a 7-seater Model Y. That is that's the type of Tesla I own. Yes, it still has black rims, because why the fuck not, right? You know what I'm saying? I get that from my daddy. You know what I'm saying? The black vehicles, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta pop out and show niggas. You feel me? That's the truth. And if you want the hard truth, is EVs save you hella bread. I went from paying fucking premium gas, filling up an Escalade, to now my wife, who's the primary driver of that EV, hasn't been to a gas station in almost 5 years, chat. She don't even remember what a gas station is like. She ain't go to no gas station. She just bring that shit home and plug it up. On top of that, that shit has zero maintenance. I don't know what y'all heard about EVs and electric vehicles, chat, but I'm here to tell you right now, electric vehicles don't have no maintenance. Beyond brakes and tires, right? And washer fluid. That's slight shit. You know what I'm saying? But it don't have no, oh yeah, you need your flux capacitor replaced. You need your catalytic meter converter replaced, right? I mean, I still have a gas vehicle too, chat, so don't get me wrong. I still have gas vehicles as well. But I'm just letting you know, EVs are fucking doing the thing. And on top of that, every time I get in that bitch, listen, I am one of those people that paid for the full self-driving computer versus paying for the subscription service. Because I said paying for the whole service up front is going to make more sense in the long run. And if you don't think it makes sense, chat, listen. If y'all haven't heard me say this before, this might come as a shock to you. When I took that trip that I'm still getting tolls for all the way to New York to visit Shaw's neighborhood, chat, that was almost a 6-hour drive for me. And this is dead ass not a lie. Out of that almost 6 hours, chat, I drove approximately 10 minutes of that whole drive. The car did the whole drive, chat. I put that shit in full self-driving. That shit drove the whole way. How did True get to 10 minutes of driving, you ask? Well, we had to stop to charge it up, right, at the stops. And first of all, W biddies, y'all still going crazy. Exactly, 10 minutes. And that was because I had to get out the car and, well, technically I didn't have to, but I got out the car so I can park that shit in the parking space for the EV charger. Right? Pity still going ham. Y'all going crazy. Right? And then the rest of the driving was when I got into New York City, because we did stay in Times Square, I drove to the hotel, which after we went across whatever that bridge name is and we entered Manhattan, my hotel was about a mile and a half away from that bridge. We stayed in Times Square, chat. So if you ask me, I can sell your ass on the EV. Even if you go out and pay right now $40,000 for a brand new EV, whether it be a car, a SUV, whatever, listen, that shit will change your life. Those are my thoughts. And yes, that's correct. She hasn't been to a gas station in almost 5 years because she definitely don't drive none of the gas cars. She don't want to. She's like, I can use autopilot. I can use full self-driving. I don't have to stop at a gas station. The convenience is insane. It's insane. This post is paid for. So 3 actions C-suite should take in shifting tax landscapes. Okay, sure. How a Nudify site turned a group of friends into key figures in a fight against AI-generated corn. AI-generated corn is crazy. Trump is wielding power to invest in critical mineral companies. These are the possible next targets. Y'all got to pay attention. While Trump is in the White House, I don't know what his full strategy is. Maybe I need to go back and read Project 2025. And Ronnie, yeah, those Teslas are getting cheaper and cheaper. They're getting cheaper and cheaper, bro. I'm gonna bring this up. Oh, I meant to go back into the view so y'all can see what's going on. I was looking at CNBC, but look here. These things are getting cheaper and cheaper. Less and less expensive. Look, here's a car, right? Here is a car. Let's see how much this car costs. We're not going to add nothing to it. Let's just go to the price, right? We're going to change these details. All right, here we go. This is after the tax credit. But purchase price, $44,000. That is expensive to a lot of people. But again, you have to do an analysis. You're never late. Ice, you're right on time. You have to do an analysis, right? Because yes, it costs $44,000. I had this conversation with one of my friends, right? And this is about investing too, right? Whenever it comes to things, and today actually, Chad, we were going to talk about personal finance, so don't get it twisted, right? And I'm not trying to sell you on an EV. I'm just letting you know, when you think about money, you have to start thinking about it in different ways. People always think about the upfront costs. You have to think about the other costs that are associated as well. Yes, $44,000. Some people say, well, that's not in the budget. I need a car that's $20,000. That's if they're going to get a brand new car. Some people may not even be able to afford that type of stuff, right? But again, something you have to think about is this $44,000, right? $36,000 after you get the $7,500 tax credit. $37,000 vehicle. You ain't gonna have to worry about no engine. You ain't gonna have to worry about no oil changes. Chat, how much I pay for oil change? My other car need an oil change right now. And I know for a fact this shit about to be $100 and something. Shout out to free oil changes. I'm about to drive to Ronnie's house and get me a free oil change. Knows how to do it. See? And I'm pretty sure it ain't that difficult. I just can't do it. I'm going to take my shit somewhere and I'm going to let them do it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Besco entering the chat. Right? But when you start thinking about this and then you start thinking about the gas, right? You start thinking about gas, right? That's what people always start to compare. Like, hold up, but wait. You know what I'm saying? There's always this debate, right? I'm going to show y'all something else, chat. I'm going to show y'all something else. This is, right, based on our driving and consumption. So everyone's going to be different, right? But let me show y'all this. Over the last, let's call it month, anyone, tell me, how much do you think you spent in gas over the last month? Anybody, throw a number in the chat. It don't even have to be 100% accurate. How much do you think even the cheapest car or the most fuel efficient car, how much is that going to cost in gas per month? Somebody put that in the chat. Somebody put that in the chat. Okay, I hear folks typing. Because I'm about to show you a number. $120. There you go. $120. This is how much we have spent over the last month for our car to operate. Can y'all see that, chat? $36. Now, answer one more question, Ronnie, or anyone. Over a year, how much do you think someone spends on gas? What you guys think? And we could just do the easy thing. We could just take the 120 and multiply it by 12, right? And we could call it that, right? And we can say somebody probably spent $1,440. Exactly. It's going to be closer to $3,000, right? How much y'all think I spent on transportation for this car over the last year? You don't have to guess. I'm going to show you. $583. There it is, chat. That's for the year. Yep. You see that? You see how I have years selected on there? Let me go full screen and just in case, right? Step back, said, tell us the real shit. $583. Based on the most fuel efficient vehicles, this is how much we still saved. $1,807. So if we're saying $3,000 for a year, which for the record, they're estimating gas costing about $5,000 on average for a year now. I've saved at least $2,500, right? $2,500 let's divide that by 12. That's $208 a month, chat. This is how True does math. We're talking about personal finance, which leads into investing, right? Do we agree that $2,500 divided by 12 is $208? Yes, I just used a calculator. That's the equation right there. 2,500 divided by 12. Why do I bring that to your attention? Because if we're making an assumption that the information on this page is even remotely accurate, they're saying estimated payment is basically $773 a month, right? We've already lowered that payment down to $565 a month. We already lowered that payment down. How did we lower that payment down? Well, because the gas savings. If you buy or have a gas car, you're going to spend $208 at least a month on gas. So instead of spending it on gas, you just spend it on that car right there. Sorry, that car right there. I thought I had showed you guys the screen. This is how personal finance works, right? Not telling you to go out and get a Tesla. I'm just telling you why a person may go out and get a Tesla, right? And then honestly, is other things that you would save on too, because if you're spending money again on oil change, how much is your oil change? For Ronnie, it's free, but it's not free for everyone. Let's estimate a low ass oil change. Let's say you're willing to go to Jiffy Lube and let them fuck your car up. So you're going to go to Jiffy Lube and pay them $50 for an oil change. Well, that's $50 a month, chat. $50 a month, right? $50 times 12, $600, right? We just lowered that payment down from what? $565 to now $515 because we don't have to worry about oil change. Well, you don't have to do oil changes monthly, so let's not do that, right? Let's be more modest, right? You got to do oil change, what, maybe twice a year? You feel me? And then we're talking about insurance. How much you pay for insurance? If you got really good insurance, you're probably paying $80. If you have really bad insurance, you're probably paying between $300 plus. Well, your insurance bill is going to be slightly cheaper. Shout out to the biddies. Your insurance is going to be slightly cheaper because the safety features of the car is going to save you money. That same Tesla in Bosnia costs, after you pay all taxes, all around $60K. You see that, chat? This same car is going to cost $60K. If you know how to do it, and I'm not telling you to do it, you could technically, you know how people flip houses? You could flip this fucking car. You could go buy this car for $44,000, get the tax credit. You didn't pay $36,000. You technically only paid $31,000 because we showed you about the gas savings and everything, right? Fly this shit over to Bosnia. You probably got to pay $2,000, maybe a little bit more to get it shipped over there. Sell it for $60,000, right? Come back and do it again. But now you got cash in your pocket because you didn't made what, 20, let's call it $20K off that sale. Now you come back, put $10K of that into this car again. Now you got your Tesla for 20 racks and you got $10K in the bank, bro. That's courtesy of Besco. Now we flipping EVs. And let me tell you what a game is really going to change. Let me tell you what a game is really going to change, chat, because we still talking about personal finance, right? This is just one little section, right? I do oil change after 10,000 miles. That makes a lot of sense to me, honestly. Because oil change after 3,000 miles is absolutely fucking insane. All that is consumerism and capitalism and them taking money out your pocket. Because there's no way you need an oil change after 3,000 miles. Shout out to Berserk in the chat. You feel me? Flipping EVs now. And you know what's gonna make it, what's gonna really turn us up, right? Is this right here. This is really going to turn people up. This is really going to turn people up, chat. This right here, right? This is what's really going to turn people up. The future of autonomy. Listen, how is this going to turn people up, chat? Listen, not everyone is in a position to do this, but some people listening are, and this is where you're going to turn the fuck up. Have you ever heard of the car service Turo, or a major service like Enterprise or Budget Rental Car or Avis or any of those places, right? Robo Taxi. This is full autonomous Look, we're bringing these autonomous rides to you today. Starting with Model Y, Cybercab, our fully autonomous vehicle, will begin offering rides in your area in the future. And you can sign up for updates. You thinking Uber, you thinking Lyft, you thinking Waymo, right? Some of these things are already on the road doing autonomous driving. Now they're talking about Teslas. But the one thing that people are not talking about, chat, listen, step back right there. You see, there goes my driving job. Or step back. What you do is you start planning, right? Because they sent me as a Tesla owner an email that says, hey, be on the lookout for the ability to use your car as a robo taxi. What does that mean, chat? That means if you have full self-driving on your car, and when a robo taxi comes to your area, you're going to be able to put your car to work. So while Step Back says, there goes my job, or there goes Step Back's opportunity. Your car goes out and work for you while you're out here streaming, making bread off of you cooking people in 2K. Bro. Come on now. Come on, bro. I read something a while ago that said that Initially starting off, when RoboTaxi hits your area, you could be making up to about $300 a month. Bro, $300 a month is a lot of money for not doing no work. The car's going to do the work for you. It's going to go out and do the work for you. Another means of income. Bro, you buy 2 of these, you could drive one yourself. You can have the other one driving for you. Bro, $75K. Yeah, see? You know what I'm saying? But these are things you have to, these are things you have to pay attention to, right? That's EVs. That's my true feelings. You want to know how I really feel about EVs? That's how I feel. And if this model, because Turo chat, if anybody has never heard of Turo is a car rental marketplace, but it's not owned by, it's not the same concept as like an Enterprise, right? Or whatever rental car services in your area. Because these are people renting out their personal cars. Look at this. 2017 Infiniti, right? These are people renting out their personal vehicles. Now, there are risks associated with that because somebody might crash your shit up. That'll be something else, right? How far can you send them out? Not sure. I'm assuming it's probably going to have to be a radius based on your charging, right? So if I always charge mine at home, it's probably going to be like, listen, we'll go out this far. Because it'll tell you like when you're getting too far from a charge station. Because if it's autonomous, somebody's going to have to charge that car up. And it's going to have to be you as the owner. But Turo, if y'all never heard of this service, if you got an extra car, because I don't know nobody's life, if y'all have an extra car and it runs, it's good and all that, bro, see if that shit qualify for Turo. Try it out. Try to rent your car out to somebody in need. They want to save a couple bucks because they don't want to go to one of these, they don't want to go to the airport to rent a car or somewhere else. Listen, if you got an extra car. Now, I'm going to say, I don't know if I'll recommend doing it with your primary vehicle because, again, somebody might fuck your shit up. But again, these options are out here, bro. These options are out here. There's definitely ways. Okay, so the Peugeot 3008, 2017, it costs you $15K. And that Tesla is not like 70% people only okay. People only dream of getting that. Well, those Teslas, some of those Teslas, right? Because out here, what's the name of that car service? Carvana, right? We're going to look up that car. We're going to see this is the car that Vesco is talking about right here, chat. That's a nice EV. I mean, that's a nice SUV. Vesco whipping in style. And look at this. Watch this. Watch this. So here are Teslas, right? While some people dream of getting the Teslas out there, right? Which is understandable because cars are expensive. Even $20,000 is expensive. RoboTaxi and Airbnb, we flipping EVs, learning stocks, and streaming. On God, right? Here are some used EVs, right? And that's sorted by recommended. Let's sort by lowest price. That's a 2014, $16,590. Look at that. 2019 for 20 racks. There you go, chat. They there. That's Carvana. Carvana is one of the people they like, we're not going to haggle with you. Here's how much the car costs. If you want it, we'll even finance it for you. When you close out your deal, we'll bring the car to you. That's how Carvana operates. And if you're wondering, yes, Carvana is also on the stock market. They're also on the stock market, trading for $371. My goodness. Once upon a time, chat, I looked at Carvana's price and I said, man, this is a smart company. And it was $75, chat. It was $75. Look at this. That was just last year, chat. $75. I could have made over $300 per share. You feel me? Let's tap back into some of those articles. We're on a roll though, because we're not just talking about investing. We're talking about personal finance. Raise your hand if you did what I said to do, a week or two ago? Have you guys who have employers went to your employer and asked about a 401k or retirement plan? Have you done it? Do they offer it? Because I guarantee you there's somebody out there that's missing out on free money. Trump officials to announce plan to boost coal output. Look, I don't know what their plan is, chat, but they're getting busy. Why the new Gabby's Dollhouse film is more than a movie for Universal and DreamWorks. I have no idea what that is, but if you're familiar with Gabby's Dollhouse, hey, shout out to y'all. Don't you hate when you miss a good... Of course, we all hate missing good opportunities. Got to spin the block. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to miss a good opportunity. And that's why you have to be prepared, right? From PepsiCo to Taco Bell, dirty soda is taking over. That's why you have to be prepared, chat. Because listen, I'll be real with y'all. Every now and again, I may play a parlay. Every now and again, I may go to the casino for fun and may gamble some money, right? I'm not doing it to try to fund my lifestyle. Sometimes I do it for entertainment. It's gambling, right? I'm not advertising gambling. The point I'm trying to make, and I know some of you saw when Kai Cenat was doing that wheel, which I looked at as like a wheel of fortune. I said, yo, 50 subs, 5 subs, 1 sub, all for an opportunity to get on this wheel and win. Chat. That's a total of 56 subs. In my head, someone who has an investment mindset, knowing, okay, over the next year, will I spend the value of 56 subs on something that I won't remember? Absolutely. Absolutely. So is it worth it to me to figure out where I'm going to get the $250 and give Kai Cenat 50 subs for a chance to get in Streamer University? Absolutely. Because if y'all like me at all, I was looking these people up. These winners, as they were coming up, I was looking them up. Shout out to all the winners. The first winner, Mega McQueen. I'm pretty sure some of you in the chat already know who he was before he won because he's been streaming and doing this thing for a minute. I already followed him on Twitch. I've already been to his streams several times. And when his name came up on that wheel, I went to his chat and he had what? 1,000, less than 1,000 people in there. And that went up to 13, 14, 15,000 viewers, chat, within like 5 minutes. Bro, he paid $250 to gift 50 subs, and now he's going to Streamer University. Listen, chat. I was in his chat. How many gifteds do you think he got back after he was discovered he was going to Streamer University? When he found out he was going to Streamer University, the first winner, chat, bro, he hit over 1,000 subs, chat. Over 1,000 subs. Over 1,000 subs, chat. That a few minutes after being announced. And that tells you that investing in certain things, even though some may be a gamble, like that was, right? It's a gamble, but sometimes it pays off. The money came right back. He spent $250 and got $5,000 in return. 1,000 subs, $5,000 in return. And not to mention, Streamer University ain't even here yet. So he's going to run it up all the way to Streamer University and then get to Streamer University, and then more people are going to discover him. Bro, to me, that was a no-brainer. But it was all about Again, as we always talk about, you have to make calculated and strategic moves. Obviously, everyone is not going to be in the place to do that. And it's a lesson because it's like you have to be ready for some of these opportunities, because he also did a will for 5 subs and a will for 1 sub. Listen, chat. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all right now. 5 subs is definitely attainable, but 1 sub, of course that will was going to be packed, but there was a winner. There was a winner, chat. There was a winner. Shout out to Aco Nation, bro. She be over there DJing and everything, but she won off of 1 sub. 1 sub. And now she'll be at Streamer University and she's going to run it up. She's going to run it up, chat. Michael has joined the chat, so y'all know what that means. It's a party. You feel me? Sometimes you got to take risks, but in order to take risks, you got to be prepared. That's why I said, I don't know who's done it. It's going good. How you doing, Michael? But make sure you ask your employer about your retirement plan if they offer one, because you may be missing out on free money. So sometimes people are like, yo, it's good that we're learning about investing, but where the hell am I going to get this money from? And we're going to talk about that a little bit too, but you know where you can definitely get the money from that you may not know? From your employer for free. Good, just at work. I understand that, man. I definitely understand it. Yeah, that sound from Michael. Yeah, that sound was created on his birthday. Shout out to Michael. And there is a difference, in case you guys didn't know, there is a difference. I know I have a sound for when there's an actual party, but here's the difference. Here's Michael's sound, right? And then when we have a party going on, here's the party sound. So there is a difference. There's one for Michael, and then there's a group for the whole party. Shout out to that. Hurricane Umberto and Tropical Storm Imelda threaten Bermuda and Bahamas. Hopefully, Bermuda and Bahamas don't get pummeled by that storm, but, those tropical storms are a bit. Oregon sues Trump administration over deployment of National Guard troops to Portland. Yo, people be mad when they be deploying these National Guards and stuff, but it happens. They did it in D.C. They were locking D.C. down. People were like, you know what? All those happy hours and all those work functions that people like to host in D.C., people was like, yo, I'm not going. I'm not going to have a beer and then go to my car and then get pulled over by the National Guard or go through a checkpoint and be like, yeah, I just came from, I'm not doing it. I'm not going. Catch me on the next one. Eric Adams drops out of New York City mayoral race. Hey, you got to read the article, find out why. An investment banking play for a potential M&A boom. Investment banking play. Interesting. America's malls decline is leading to sweetened real estate deals for local business owners. We're getting into mixed use. We're getting into mixed use. If you guys don't know what mixed use is, it's going to be where you have kind of like a outlet type of situation. You guys know what outlets are? Almost like a mini mall type of situation, but maybe a little bit bigger depending on the area. So you're outside and you walk into stores and they have, they still have Auntie Anne's pretzels and sometimes Cinnabons and stuff, but it's not a physical mall. Physical malls are taking up valuable retail space where they can do mixed use property by having retail establishments, whether it be a Lululemon or a Nike outlet or whatever. And then they want to put houses on top of it. They want to put condos up there, chat, so they can make money off of the residential places as well. That's the mixed use. They're mixing the use. One mall can change into an outdoor mall / residential area, right? That is mixed use. There's a lot of mixed use properties coming up in the area over here in the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. A lot of mixed use, right? We just call them town centers. You guys have town centers? Like, this is the town I live in, and that's our town center. So they have a grocery store. They have places where you can shop literally for clothes, shoes, and other consumer goods. And people live there. So they have houses, condos, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But malls, a lot of malls are empty. And again, there's still a mall. I don't know how they're surviving. All they sell is cookies and pizza. From Elon Musk to Microsoft's Satya Nadella, these tech leaders were once H-1B visa holders. Listen, we talked about H-1B visas a while ago. The price of a company, the fee, I should say, for a company to have a H-1B visa holder is $100,000. That means if I'm an immigrant or someone coming from another country to work and do tech or whatever, that company is going to have to pay $100,000 for me to be there. So I better be damn good talent. Because they're fronting the bill, $100,000. Jim Cramer, why the crazy spending of this AI boom isn't like the dot-com bubble. Bro, Jim Cramer, when he says dot-com bubble, they have to realize there's a whole generation of people that have no idea what you're talking about. I could tell people .com and people still don't know what you're talking about. .com chat. CNBC.com. See that? The .com bubble, in short, I don't like doing that, right? I like just telling you what Google says. What was the .com bubble? Right? I don't like what's the word I'm looking for? Paraphrasing information for you guys. I just like to look it up. All right. What was the dot-com bubble? The dot-com bubble was a period of rapid growth in U.S. technology and internet stock valuations during the late 1990s, followed by a dramatic crash in the early 2000s. The bubble was characterized by soaring stock valuations. So the NASDAQ index rose significantly, fueled by speculative investments in internet-based startups, abundant funding. Venture capital poured into these startups, often despite a lack of profitability or viable business models. An IPO frenzy. Many companies, often identified by the .com in their name, just like Google.com, went public with high valuations. The bubble burst when investment capital dried up, revealing that many .com companies lacked sustainable business models. This led to widespread bankruptcies and significantly losses for investors. The NASDAQ index plummeted dramatically between March 2000 and October 2022. Right? And they go on to talk about companies affected and lessons learned. Right? We might as well read that rest of that, right? Many companies went bankrupt, such as Pets.com, Webvam, eToys, Cosmo, websites that many people have never heard about, right? Even established tech companies like Cisco, Intel, and Oracle saw their stock prices drop significantly. But as we read earlier, chat, we read it earlier on the banner. Oracle's one of those companies that's going up in pre-market. Some companies, including Amazon, eBay, and Priceline, survived the crash and even thrive. And we know Amazon is doing very good right now. Lessons learned, diversification matters. So spreading investments across different sectors and asset classes is crucial. We talked about the sectors, chat. We talked about asset classes. We can talk about it again. Evaluate fundamentals. Focus on profitability, competitive advantages, and growth strategies is essential. We're going to cover that. Not today, but we're going to talk about that. Avoid herd mentality. Resist the temptation to follow the market trends without thorough research. That's what I said earlier about EA. Remember I told you guys about EA? I said, hey, we know EA's running up right now. We know why it's running up, because they're supposed to be going private. The market is open right now, but do your research, chat. Do your research. And that's the .com bubble. That is the .com bubble. Seconds count. Avoiding airplane collisions at airports could come down to cockpit alerts. Y'all heard about that plane that forgot to put down their landing gear? Bro, I don't want to be on a plane and hear you forgot to put down your landing gear. That's scary stuff. I've been on a plane, which I believe was a rookie pilot, and it felt like he hit the ground nose first, bro. When I tell you that was the roughest landing I had, for a second, it made me nervous to fly. I've never been nervous to fly. I'm not traditionally nervous about things I've never experienced, right? So flying on a plane wasn't something I was worried about. Now I've flown on many a planes. I'll be flying on a plane next month when I go to TwitchCon. Shout out to everybody going to TwitchCon. Right? Shout out to everybody going to TwitchCon. But yeah, be careful on them planes, man. And if you guys need my TwitchCon link so you can kind of get discounts, and I'll get discounts as well, reach out to me. Get on the Discord and be like, yo, True, post that link again. I can do it as well. Gunman opens fire at Michigan church and sets it ablaze, killing at least 4 and wounding 8. We won't make any assumptions about that, but it's insane. We know it's insane. Rent prices holding steady for dropping across the U.S. Yeah. Look at OpenAI's tangled web of deal making. Read the articles, chat. There you have it. Article rundown. Took us a while to get to that article rundown, but you have it. I'm going to go back full screen. And again, y'all let me know if y'all have any questions. Because y'all know the vibe. So I told y'all before, I have this book in my hand. Personal Finance for Dummies. We already talked about ways that you can actually start thinking about your finances. Yes, we were talking about vehicles and again, more consumerism, things like that. But most of us here live in the United States. Shout out to those who don't. Shout out to Besto, right? But there's ways to start thinking about your personal finance and thinking about like, yo, what can I do? Where can I get the money from? How can I save money? Things like that. So it's 2 things I want to reread. If you're wondering, have I read this book before? Yes. Yes, I have. Personal Finance for Dummies. Yes, I have. And I also have a textbook. I was one of those people in college that's like, yo, I paid hella bread for that textbook. I'm not going to sell some of the books back. The books that I sold back were the ones that didn't pertain to my major. If I had to buy a $200 textbook and it didn't pertain to my major, you best believe I'm selling that bitch back. I don't care if I paid $280 for it and you're only going to pay me $40. Bro, give me the $40. Give me the $40 because I'm never going to read this book again. I'm never going to read this humanities book. I'm never going to read this history book or whatever the case it was. I'm never going to read it again. But some that pertain to my major, which my major was finance, chat, I kept it. The Essentials of Investments, chat. Have I read this book? Yes. Do I need to read it again? Yes. And I just wanted to point it out because what I'm going to get into, because like I said, some of the lessons, right, in terms of basic investing, we essentially covered it for basic investing. There's still a lot more to cover and we're going to get into it. But as we go into some of the more detailed things as it pertains to investing, shout out to Bree again for the biddies. Bree been going ham all day. Listen, I'm not going to say much, but all I'm going to say is when you see Bree's name, put some respect on it. That's all I'm saying. But I'm going to start reading these books again, chat, so I can get some ideas of what I believe would be good to share with you all, right? Because one of these sections, right, is improving your financial literacy, right? Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that, chat. Improving your financial literacy, right? What this says in this block, and again, this is Personal Finance for Dummies. This is, and probably, I don't know what edition they're on, but this is an old edition. This is the 5th edition. So get the newest one if you need to. Financial illiteracy, chat, is a costly situation. The lack of proficiency in personal financial management causes not only tremendous anxiety, but also serious problems. Considering the following sobering statistics, I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to tell you something. And remind me, because this has to deal with Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. If you know, you know. Studies show that less than 20% of baby boomers are saving adequately for retirement, and that 1/4 of the adults between the ages of 35 and 54 have not even begun to save for retirement. Again, this is an old edition, but I guarantee you they only changed the words. It probably now in a new edition probably say 20% of millennials. Probably still says 35 to 54 have not begun to save for retirement. But at the end of the day, it's never too late. Right? Regardless of what anyone ever says, it's never too late, chat. Out of every 2 marriages in America ends in divorce. Some of these statistics probably need to be updated. But again, we're going to read it because it's a costly situation. Just apply it to today. Studies show that financial disagreement is one of the leading causes of marital discord. In a survey conducted by Worth Magazine and the market research firm of Roper/Starch, couples admitted to fighting about money more than anything else, more than 3 times more often than they fight about their sex lives. And a staggering 57% of those surveyed agreed with the statement. In every marriage, money eventually becomes the most important concern. It does. Because everyone's going to have a different idea about money. That's just natural. There's nothing wrong with it. You just have to find your rhythm, chat. I have a different view about money than my wife has. You just have to find your rhythm, right? You just have to find your rhythm. Less than 10% of American adults understand a 401k well enough to explain it to someone else. Fewer than 1 in 4 can explain what a municipal bond is. Right? Let's put you guys on right now. Because they're not going, listen, this book not about to talk shit about chat. Municipal bond, also known as a muni bond. That's a cool name, right? A muni bond, right? Shout out to Step Back. W Biddy's in the chat. Municipal bonds whose interest is exempt from taxes include federal tax exempt municipal bonds. The interest income from most municipal bonds is exempt from federal income tax, regardless of where the bond was issued. Triple tax-free bonds. These are municipal bonds issued within your state of residence, making the interest exempt from federal, state, and local income taxes. Private activity bonds. While most